there, how you doing? Dave Fennoy here. Another Wednesday, another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. And yes, I missed the last couple of Wednesdays. I had a very important job to do. It was being Papa Dave to my grandson Zidane. My daughter and her husband were out of town, and I flew into New York. Dun, dun, dun. Papa Dave to the rescue to take care of my 7-year-old grandson for 10 days. And it's been a while since I took care of a kid that age. It was challenging and also absolutely wonderful. And for those of you who noticed online and pictures I posted and whatnot, it was fantastic. And thank you for checking it out. Little housekeeping here. This, of course, Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. It lives on YouTube, all of the episodes that we've done so far. So you can visit my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. If you are interested in voiceover coaching with me, go to davefennoy.com, click on the Study VO tab, and now's a good time to do it. If you're looking for a package of 5, 10, or 20 coaching sessions, we're having our Christmas sale or holiday sale or whatever sale you want to call it. It's going on now through the end of the year, and it's 20% off of whatever it is. So good time to, get your voiceover chops up and save some money while doing it. All right. All that housekeeping done, I want to introduce a very good friend of mine, and one of the hardest working people in this business of voiceover, especially in the world of video games. How are you? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Dave? Thanks for having me today.
Okay, yeah, there's a little delay. I can see. We didn't have a little delay there. We were talking, but that does not look like your home studio.
No, it's not. And yeah, with the delay, we'll just pretend it's the Source Connect session. Be all good.
Guess what? The delay seems to have gone away. Yeah, Source Connect. That's why I keep, hey, connection open, everybody, connection open. I had a session the other day with it wasn't Source Connect. It was something else, and it was just crashed and burned. They had to reschedule. But hey,
Sounds about right.
modern world. So what are you doing in Boston?
I am on location for a very top secret project where we're doing facial capture on a video game project. And I'll let you do the math, but it better be pretty cool if I have to go to them. So
Yeah, it better be.
so
Pretty.
we did 1 week of shoot last week in LA. We're doing 1 week of shoot here in Boston, and then we're going down to New York next week to do another shoot. And then it's actually kind of convenient for me. I was happy about it because when we wrap up, it's going to be like the day before Christmas, and I can actually just take the train up to like my folks and my sisters for Thanksgiving and see my nieces, my kids, and my wife are flying in. So yeah, it's going to be a big old Thanksgiving.
Oh boy!
So
Oh boy! So listen,
yeah.
you cast games, you direct games,
Mhm.
motion capture, facial capture. How'd you get started in this wacky biz?
I mean, how far back you want to go? So I've been doing voiceover for video games for about God, like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, my first video game voiceover project was for the N Gauge. It was a Nokia like mobile device that was like designed for. It was like a hybrid between a Game Boy and a phone. Uh, and we did a game for that. We put some voices in it. It was fun. It was kooky. But I was a theater kid and in bands and stuff growing up. So I kind of was serving two masters. I had music and I had acting. And for me, it was just sort of like the first time that I kind of sat down and did a video game and contributed on the voiceover side of it. It was like, whoa, I could do this forever. And so far, that's
And
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 what I've been
and it
doing
looks
forever.
like you will be.
Yeah, yeah. Fair point. So hey, it's Jordan. Yeah, I don't know, like it's kind of a wonky trail. Like on the before that side, I was cutting my teeth doing music, and I wanted to be a rock star, but like I was always drawn to the studio. I kind of kid a lot that I was, the probably the last engineer trained to cut tape before the computers came in. But that might date me, but I don't care. I'm old. Er.
Well, you don't
So
have the gray hair that I've got, but
I got the gray beard though, man.
oh, there you
It's
go.
coming in.
There
It's
you go.
good. It's refined.
Well,
But
talking about, you get some more applause. Uh, but now, one of the things that's very different about you as a director is you're also your own engineer. What,
yeah,
what,
so
what, what? I mean, were you trying to save money? What happened?
It's a good point. It might appear that I'm trying to save money. Really, like I'm really nerdy about systems and efficiency. And when I see areas where there is inefficiency, I take the time and I pause and think about like, okay, how can we mitigate this? How can we smooth the pathways? How can we how can we transverse the gap between the communication breakdowns? So for a lot of years, I was directing and calling takes. Like normal. Like most directors. Like we wind it up. We have the actor do three or four or whatever, and then I ABC. And for efficiency's sake, for file naming, actually, it all came from a file naming system. So in games, as most of you know who've done games, we try and target about 1,000 words an hour, and usually that's about like 100 to 120 files on the systemic side, or maybe like 60 to 100 on the narrative side. By the end of the day, you're generating like several hundred files, sometimes upward of like six or seven, and file renaming can be like a really big,
Pain in the ass.
yeah. So I figured this is a real pain in the ass, and basically, I kind of adhere to the philosophy of if I have to do it twice, there has to be a better way. So I developed it with a programmer of mine at the studio I was working with. We developed a file renaming system, but that one was very dependent on our particular tool set. So when I started my company, I liked that tool so much that I developed something similar. Um, but I don't know. When it's nerdy and complicated, and I don't know if that's sort of what your audience wants to hear. But like, the high level of it is that like we do region pulls in Pro Tools, we stripe them across, and then like at the end of the session, we have the Excel script that has all the file names in it, and we just are able to blast through parsing between Excel and Pro Tools and renaming all the regions so that when we spit out the selects, they're pre-named for our editors.
And of course, yes, I started to yawn and fall over with the
Yeah,
how
I
deep in
figured.
the weeds we got there, but it explains a lot. And as I knowing you and the way your mind works, being in session with you many times, you're very specific. You're very quick. Oh, like that take, or we're going to go with that take. Boom, 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 and on we go. Um,
Yeah.
I also noticed that you're one of the only people I know as a director of video games that does it out of your house, as your own home studio, uh, that still functions like a house as well.
That was never meant to be that wasn't by design. Like that was oh shit. Hang on, I'm sorry. I'm a little off frame for you. There you go. That was never by design. It was kind of like We did it for like one project because they were kind of on a tight budget, and we were just like, all right, cool. Like, we'll give you our like. I have a studio that I've been building and working out of, and I actually built it because of another like lower budget project that we were working on that couldn't afford like some of the bigger studios that we work out of in LA, and we still do work out of some of the bigger studios for like for this PCAP shoot, for example. Like we couldn't really do that in my house, and throughout all of COVID, we can't have people in the house, both for SAG regulations and also because like I love you, but I don't want you in my house. um, so we built the studio just out of like necessity for some of the more indie projects because like I love working on AAA. Like I do, I love working on AAA games like big
Don't
title
we
like
all?
yeah, but sometimes there's a lot of craft and love and art coming out of the more independent scenes. And like you and I have worked on some of the more independent games and stuff that have like deeper lore or like that really have like beautiful scripts and beautiful stories that need to be told. But and it's not like we're working for peanuts. Like
No, no.
we work at rate, but because we're such an efficiency focused team, like we find ways that we can cut budget without sacrificing like your pay, our pay, or anybody else's. We're just able to compact sessions really closely. Anyway, the long story short is yeah, we built this beautiful studio in our house. It's in our house, and then like over time, people like you or like Julie or lots of other people were just like, oh, we love working out of your house. It's just so comfortable. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the number one thing a studio should be is comfortable, right?
Yeah.
It should be a place where you feel free to, stretch your creative mind and and if we've already got comfort going for us, then I don't see the much need to change. I will say though, the caveat, Dave, we haven't really, synced up in a while, but we are moving out of that space very soon. We're about halfway through construction on our new facilities. By I don't want to jinx it, but by early spring we should be fully moved into. We bought a place over pandemic, and we've been reconditioning it, and we're moving operations over to Reseda. I 100% promise it's very comfortable and welcoming and very homey.
Okay, now is this an office space or is this a home space? Or home and office studio space?
It is a It's a really nice space.
That's all I'm going to tell you now.
It's a really nice space,
I
and
have signed
everything
papers.
is above board and up to code, and like our zoning is square. But I just don't want to talk about it
Yeah.
too much. I'd
Uh,
rather I'm a show rather than tell kind of guy.
okay. No, I got you. I got you. And just because we love him, I'm gonna bring up here Jordan Reynolds
Hey, there he
checking
is.
us out. Sup, Dave? Good
Wow.
to see you, Michael. Hey, VO friends.
Howdy,
And
neighbor.
yeah, and love Jordan. Love Jordan. And we're going to get into some questions later on about from people. So, people, if you have some questions for Michael, please. What kind of questions you, as an actor, want to ask a director, a casting director? Uh, Now, when you're casting, who is the person that chooses, puts together the casting scripts, the sides? Is that you?
The sides. So for a long time, it was me. But if you work in video game voiceover, you probably noticed that Bright Skull shoots out a lot of sides. Um, I I have a an associate producer that we've been training that I personally have been hands-on training for like 3 years, and I've known her forever. Like we came up in theater together, and then like she kind of went into the commercial casting world, and then we kind of reconverged in LA a couple of years ago, and I've been kind of working with her to get her more focused on video game stuff. So the process is that like, right now she compiles all the information. She takes like a first stab at trimming down the info because here's what the writers want to say and here's what you need to hear.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. And
so
a lot of times you actually do get that 2 pages of copy of who the character is, what their backstory is, and
Not
then
from me.
and then 5 lines. No, not from you. And then 5 lines. Oh,
Yeah,
fit everything about the character
five
there.
lines with like 4 words, and half of them are
Yeah. Ah. So, but my
Yeah.
question is, what's your theory of finding what's the core of the character and what lines are going to work? Are you looking to find different thoughts, feelings, moods, situations for a character? What's that process for you?
Uh, Adjectives, adjectives, adjectives. Like, I really find that character art is kind of the number one thing, and then to follow that up is just like I like to put a little bit of backstory, like not a ton. I want to know like one sentence about your past, and hopefully it includes some key information like socioeconomic. If there's struggle or if you had it easy, that kind of stuff. I want to know one kind of touch on your present, like what brought you to the situation that you're in. That's gonna push the narrative of the game, and then I want to know a little bit about kind of like what the motivation is, what the hope is, what they want the future to look like a little bit. That's kind of like in a perfect world, what it would look like, and then it would just be laden with adjectives. Like for me, the perfect side starts with like just a 3 word phrase, the broken samurai, or the gung ho cowboy. Like that to me kind of summarizes. I like to distill.
Elevator pitch of character.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like the way I talk to other teams when because I lecture a lot. I do a lot of like talking to game developers and stuff like that at like our industry meets and stuff. And one of the biggest things that I kind of try and convey is like, you guys, you as the writers, you probably think of it like, oh, the actor's going to take my script and they're going to read it and it's going to be the most important thing in their day. And it's just like, that's not respecting your time. You've got a stack of like 20, 30 sides if you're any good, and you're going to be blasting through them. Like, you can't, you're just waiting. Like, you think the actor's just sitting there waiting for you to call? Like, that's bullshit. Like, who thinks like that? So we try and respect your
The
time. And that's
writers of
kind of,
these scripts.
yeah, and I don't get me wrong. We all need each other, and we all collaborate, and we all need to love each other. But part of loving each other is understanding each other and respecting each other's time and needs. So, yeah,
Okay. Now, one of the things, I always ask my guests to send me, some pictures and their bio, and I never fail to learn something I didn't know about these people that I've known for years. Um, and I also find out some of the work you might have done that I didn't realize was yours. And when you sent me your bio and you mentioned some of your more notable games and work, Bugnacks, uh,
Bug snacks. Yeah,
yeah, Harry Potter, Magic Awakening.
just came out. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
so glad that we can't really talk about it so much, but I can at least say like, we kind of did
well,
that.
we don't. I'm just putting the names out here. Whatever you can and want to say, you can say.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bioshock 2.
Hmm.
Um, One of my favorites that I've done with you, Masquerada Songs and Shadows.
It's always gonna have a special place in my
Oh
heart.
man, oh man, and it's one of my favorites. And this is kind of a transition into something. Um, Ensemble performances in video games.
Yeah, that's me.
When I'm teaching, I tell people all the time, listen, 99% of the time it's going to be you, the script, a director, and some other people in the room. There will be no other actors that you're working with. Sometimes as a coach, I will read the lines with you, but you're going to have to learn to read those lines. Do not be the, oh, bullshit, 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 my line, bullshit, 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 my line, because nobody else is going to read those lines with you. So, what brought you to the idea? Well, first of all, why is it so difficult for video games to have ensemble performances? And two, why are you so interested in ensemble performances? And what has to happen in the video game world for that to happen?
That's a lot of questions. Hang on one second. So I just want to address one thing. I see one person in the chat who may have misheard masquerada and thought Matt's effect, and I just wanted to clarify
No, not
that
Mask
is in fact.
Effect. No, Masquerada. Songs and Shadows. Whoops, I lost your voice. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Nope, nope, nope. Nothing. Can't hear. Not hearing you. Not hearing you. And of course, you realize that you're the engineer and you're working with your Apple iPods, and nothing, 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 nothing. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Let me make sure I haven't done anything. Nope. Your sound is all the way up. Putting away the buds. Whoops. And now the camera's gone. Hello. And something's back. And nothing yet. Nothing yet. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, give you a minute. All right. Well, while he's getting that together, I'll mention again. Oh yeah. Well, there he is. He's doing this, that, and the other. We should have some little music going and some little guys that are fixing something animated on the screen, but we don't. Um, and he won't see this, but I will mention, hey, Jordan Reynolds, congrats on the new property, dude. Absolutely. And we'll bring him in again. And ta-da!
Sorry about that.
Hey, and
Dude, I put everything on like silent and don't bother me, and somehow my kids' middle school still finds me. So for anybody who has kids in LA, then you know that that's what it's like.
oh yeah, oh yeah. So, where were we?
I was clarifying that Masquerada is not Mass Effect, and I am not Mike Laidlaw, even though he is a handsome devil. I'm a different Michael. But and then we were talking about you were talking about Ensemble, and you wanted me to kind of talk about
Yes, there we go.
how and why.
Ensemble
So
Performances video games.
yeah, so Ensemble Performance video games. It's a lot. Not for the faint of heart. Um, I think that we gain so much from Ensemble because it's a complete shift in dynamics. So when we're doing solo recordings, the caveat to that is you kind of have to play to my vision for the voice in my head that's going to be on the other side of the conversation and vice versa, right? Like I kind of have to like keep a framework for what that conversation is going to be like. And I like to give a lot of liberty. I like to collaborate, and I love to give you guys a lot of license to play and to experiment and to contribute. Like I can't stand it when directors or writers or creatives have a voice in their head and you have to play like guess the voice. I think that's power over, and I'm not
Nope,
interested in
that's
that,
not it.
right?
Nope, that's not it.
Yeah, Brene Brown wouldn't pull that shit, and neither will I. So I much prefer giving you guys the license. Yeah, Bioshock 2 was very underrated. I agree. Theodore Mezcapo, you are sane for saying that. Anyway, so yeah, what I love about Ensemble is that instead of you trying to work with what I have in my head, I get to watch you form the scene in front of me and then figure out if it's going to fit the shape of the narrative,
Yeah.
right? And that's a much different approach. It changes the whole psychology of the session. It changes the whole dynamic between of the power shift, and it gives you more of the control over the scene, which is kind of how it should be, right? So, at least in my opinion.
I think it also brings more nuance.
Of course, it brings more nuance, but it's it could be because acting is reacting, right? And how
Yes.
can you react if you have nothing to react against? Yeah, it creates an opportunity for it creates the opportunity for nuance because you're allowed to know you're given the secret of the other side of the conversation. Yeah, we could do playback lead-ins and stuff like that, and that kind of when you cheat it sometimes. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. Like there's something organic and real,
Well,
even when we're doing like character work. Like if you've watched or seen or played Bugsnax, you know that like everybody in that ensemble is a rock star, right? And like that was a fucking room. And same with Masquerada, right? We got 14 on mic, and everyone in that room is oh
killing
shit,
it,
you're here.
killing it.
Yeah, and everybody's just killing it, right? But so Masquerada was like we were doing like narrative characters, and there was a lot of drama. And Bugsnax was comedy horror, right? And everybody's a real character. There's a lot of big personalities in the characters and in the room. How you balance like Fred Tatasciore and Roger Craig Smith and like Deborah Wilson and Max Middleman and everybody together when they're also doing hey, I'm Cromdo Face, and I'm here to tell everybody that you can get a better deal anywhere. And then you got I'm Sheldon Smellywag, and I'm going to everything is so big that when you put it together, it it normalizes the largeness,
Yeah.
right? But if we were doing that like one on one,
It
when
would
you
miss
put that
some of
kind
the
of stuff
bigness.
together,
Yeah.
yeah, it would feel like the larger than life the characters are. When you kind of crush them together like that, it creates more opportunities for a disjointed performance, right? And you see that a lot in games, like especially, or you can kind of tell sometimes, like when it was recorded separately, and especially the bigger you get. But with that project, because it was literally like the last record before pandemic. I just did a talk on this like a couple weeks ago, and I had forgotten that we did those records, and it was again another like 14 on mic ensemble, and then we were supposed to come back like 3 weeks later and shoot the rest, like all the solo work, right? And then the pandemic hit, and that was it.
Oh boy.
So yeah, that's kind of it.
So now let me ask you this: why is it that the video game industry doesn't do more ensemble recording?
It's fucking hard, man. It's really hard. Like it's the amount of pre-production work required to do it is intense. We do like 10 times more work before the session when we do ensemble than when we do solo. Just logistics alone is really complicated, but also script division. When you're doing a larger game like Masquerada, there's a lot of just okay, if I bring Dave in, and Dave has about 3 hours of material, and then I bring so and so in, and they've got about 1 hour of material. Well, I have to make sure that their scenes overlap, right? And then they have other scenes with other people, and it's just an efficiency matrix, right?
Yeah.
And you know that you're going to burn some budget on sessions that are just oh, okay, cool, I guess we brought them in for 15 minutes, but that's the caveat, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about mitigating that number to be the smallest possible value. I gotta tell you, because of the way that ensemble works, though, a lot of times it ends up being fairly close to cost neutral if you do it right. Again, that depends on the complexity of the project. It depends on the size of the cast. But the quality increase is something that you really can't. I mean, if you're nickel and diming over a couple $1,000 on a budget that's where that's a 0.5%, I don't know what to tell you. You're not putting your values in the right column.
Got it. I'm going to bring on Lonnie Minella here. And Lonnie, good to see you. She had sent me a note earlier. She has a question that she wants to ask. I'm going to ask for her. But many games have few cutscenes. Always great when they do. And but Lonnie had a question about auditions. I notice on your auditions, and anybody else who's gotten something from Bright Skull through this pandemic, please record at about negative 18 dB. Why so low?
Yeah.
Why so low?
Why so low? Because honestly, because I'm trying to respect that most of you don't really know how to engineer, and it's not like I'm not trying to
I'm hanging up on you now. No.
I'm not trying to. I'm not slandering anybody, but like, it's more like, I know that I wear a lot of hats, but I would prefer that you didn't have to. Like, I would prefer that I get to take that on and that you guys get to do your jobs. So we recorded negative 18. Negative 18 is a pretty healthy average, and I think that there's a lot of discrepancy on what is a peak and what is an average. So when some people hear negative 18, they're thinking that's negative 18 peak, even though
Peak. Okay.
we write the word average in there. So what, like, and I think it's, I don't know if we asked for negative 18 or negative 16, whatever, but it's the point is that we asked for an average value of negative 18, which means that like the meat of your meter, right? Like the sort of like where your meter is spending the most time
Is living about there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it gives you enough headroom for if you want to be a little bit more dynamic in your performances, you can, and it keeps you. It's kind of like we usually master to about negative 23 LUFS, and at regular conversational value, average is about negative 16 dB, between negative 12 and negative 16 dB. So it's just sort of, again, this is getting really granular and techy and engineering, but
Hey, guess what? Everybody's got home studios now, and if they don't, they will. So
yeah, you're all engineers now.
granular and I've had one for 20 something years. I remember when the pandemic hit and I started getting these, oh, tell me about your studio. We have a sample? And I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for, and I'm like, okay, everybody's got to do this
To be
now.
fair, I gotta tell you though, Dave, and not you, but there's a lot of, in particular, men who kind of fall into that trap that are at a certain age. And there's a lot of like that, especially in the beginning of the pandemic. There was a lot of like, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I know that my booth sounds great. And it's just like, yeah, well, actually,
It doesn't.
It's actually a piece of plywood with a really thin piece of carpet over it, and you have your mic too close to the back wall. So let's put some absorption behind it. Let's move that mic a little bit out and give you some air. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, well, I'm very proud that my studio has always passed the test. And I also noticed one of the things you don't want, and this is, I think, the way the world is going to be after pandemic, even though we will be going back to studios. I think home studios are here to stay, and people are going to be getting tests from, especially if they're going into video games. They're going to be hey, let me get a sample of your studio. Now, when somebody has sent you what their mics are, what their interfaces are, what are the things that you hate seeing? And what are the things you love seeing?
Okay, here's a good one. I hate seeing microphones that were designed for large rooms. U87, which were designed to be U87s were designed to be cymbal overheads, being used in spaces that are the size of a broom closet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that kind of just like, yeah, it's boxy.
Yeah, they hate a small room.
416s are the better choice for most booths. I hate it because, like, honestly, before the pandemic, I was the first person to tell you how much I hated 416. But now I'm just like, please, like the 416 is our loan app kit, right?
Yeah.
If we pay for Pro Studio for ourselves, are you open?
Oh, you just want a question. Okay. Lonnie, if we pay for Pro Studio ourselves, are you open to that even if Auditions don't use that equipment?
I mean, like, I gotta tell you, if you're paying for a Pro Studio yourself, the amount of money that you're gonna sink into a Pro Studio, you might as well just put it into the right equipment for your room. Like, you do 3 auditions, and it's kind of like paid for a new mic. All you need is one microphone and one preamp, and that's it. Like, get yourself like a 416. If you know you're going to be working, and I'm a big believer in pay the money for your tools, man. I don't want my carpenter showing up with a fucking shitty hammer, right? I don't want an actor showing up with a shitty mic. I'll send you to a studio. I'll pay for the studio if you book. But like, nah, man, if you're taking this job serious, it's a job. Like there's 300 people behind you that are glad
It's
to
not a
do it.
job; it's a career.
Yeah,
This
I'm sorry if that's harsh, but I especially give a lot of deference to people that are getting into this industry. I know that equipment can seem daunting at first, but it's just like, man, we live in a world where you can get a solid microphone and a really good mic pre for like well under a grand. And if you're telling me that you can't go out on $1,000 limb for your career, yeah, man, like it's hard. That's what capital investment is, right? If you can't invest in yourself, why should I? Sorry if that's a little blunt. I don't know. It's very late for me. I'm jet lagged. I'm feeling listless. But yeah, if you do I expect demo reels? I gotta tell you, some people love demo reels. I fucking hate them. There's nothing that I don't know. It's so earlier I was talking about how I try and respect your time, right? I like it's like one of my number one things. I try and respect actor time. I make my sides short. I make them concise. I spend a lot of time and a lot of effort training my teams to build sides that are compact and like let you do your jobs really well. If I have to listen to like and remember 300 people's demo reels, I believe in meritocracy. That's why we send sides. We never ever do nepotistic casting. We never say like, oh, I know who's perfect for this role. Not once. I've had a lot of, like hundreds of roles where some of my closest friends and colleagues audition for the role, and they make it very far up the chain, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like this person I've never worked with before kind of is better for the role.
and you know what? I want to address that a little bit right now. Often people are disappointed when they feel like they've had a great audition and they didn't book it. Myself as well, but I have the understanding that you're going to be up against a bunch of other very good auditions. And sometimes the criteria after that is not about, oh, your read was good or your read was bad. It's this performance spoke to me in a way, not necessarily better, but in a way that touched the person who doing the casting in a way yours didn't.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you too, like I've been doing this a long time. I gotta tell you, 20 years ago, it was like for video games, you get like 20 to 100 auditions, and honestly, like half of them were terrible. Right now, we send out sides and we get like minimum 300 reads, and like half of them are pretty good. We just over pandemic, I don't know if you guys realized how many voice actors moved here from like Texas and other markets that are doing tons of animation. And I know a lot of you also moved out. So there's been a huge shift. And we've seen the uptick over the pandemic has almost doubled the number of auditions within the LA region. And again, we never do direct casting. We always distribute sides to agents. We only do through rep. And we still are getting, minimum 300, mostly 400 sides per auditions per role.
Let me ask you this: Why do you think there's so many decent actors now as compared with in the past?
Because you guys made it look so fun. What were you thinking? You guys go to conventions and you let all the fans know how fun it is. And I'm serious. Like I will say, like. I don't know what everybody's opinion on this is. Frankly, I don't care. But I've seen a lot of people come through like the cosplay community and be like baller actors. I've seen a lot of people come from just like from being animators and doing their own voices, and then wind up building really good. I think the thing is that since the initial boom, right? Like I'd say probably in the 90s, 2000s, where there's just been like more and more build and draw to the business. It looks good, and there's so many people who are preaching it, where it's just like, oh, it's easy money, and then they go out and they like there are some people who try and like make money off of actors, which I don't know, that's not my favorite thing, but I think that like there's a lot of interest because it's good and it's fun and it's something you can build a career off of, and we're also such a welcoming community. We're such a like overall just like we like each other, and who doesn't want to work in that
Yeah.
environment? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
that's,
Okay. What drives you nuts about those of us who are actors? What are the things we do that you just go, oh, geez, what an actor. Good.
I don't know. All right.
Thank God you didn't say, oh, everything. No.
No, no. I mean, like, that's a hard one. Just because, like, if there were so many things that bugged me about actors, I'd be in the wrong job, right? Like, I love you guys and I love working with you, but I'd say like one. I don't know. I don't like being pitched. That's just me personally. Like, if I'm at like if I'm not like a networking event, like where it's like obvious, this is what we're all here to do. But I don't like being pitched when I'm not in work mode. Like we're at if we're out to dinner, if we're out socially and stuff. It's just like I don't need to know your resume. I don't want to know your demo. I don't want to know like it's just like I'm here to this is me time. This is you and me personal. Tell me talk to me about your hobbies, or like let's talk about philosophy, or let's tell me what books you read. Like that's the kind of stuff
Yeah.
that I'm interested in a human being. But like when it's just like, man, there's some people who kind of get like stuck in work mode, and that's not really.
Well, that's
shallow.
interesting because I know when you and I are doing a session and in a downtime, we're not talking about work.
Exactly.
We're talking about
100%.
all kinds of other things, and when it's time to work, then we jump on it. So the pandemic really switched up everything. Suddenly, everybody had to work from home, and people have got home studios now. I don't think those are going away. How do you think this business is going to continue from now on? Are we going to be back in studios more? But what do you think that the world looks like for voiceover now, especially voiceover in video games?
I think that something that's really important to me in my mental health is to be comfortable with uncertainty. And so to put a marker on what my prediction is, it's just a prediction. I'm not married to it, and it's just sort of, and I'm not. It's not me being optimistic or pessimistic, but my rational, my rational brain is telling me that I think it's going to be a mix, and I think with good reason. We kind of, for a lot of us, on both sides of the glass, right? It's been a very lucrative couple of years. We no longer have to commute from job to job, right? And that's a huge deal. And plus, because of the initial lack of ability to produce on cam, there was a lot of increase in the demand for animation and video game work for entertainment. And I don't think that that's going away. I think that we're just going to continue to see a rise in demand for that media, especially as we start to globalize more. We do a lot of work in Southeast Asia, and I got to tell you, that market is starving for content. So
that's where Squid Game came from. Well,
right?
Korea.
Yeah. No, I mean that's the reverse of what I'm trying to get at, where that's like us taking media from Southeast Asia and sort of imprinting it onto a Western template, which is a whole other thing that I absolutely love. I absolutely love. But I'm talking about the Southeast Asian market. There's a lot of regions that kind of want English voiceover as the primary language, which. Yeah, it is fascinating. But that's driving a lot of content production, and that's driving a lot of content demand. But even I'm not even talking about that market as being the main driver. I'm saying that as we globalize as a whole, it's kind of like like rising tide lifts all boats. So it's more. I think there's an uptick in an even greater uptick in demand for content, and I think that for the most part, most people have done a good job of using the pandemic to start thinking about their career as more of a business. And part of that is efficiency of economy. and commuting from studio to studio, unless you're very extroverted and that's part of your mental health, regime to be around people, or unless there's a creative need or reason for in studio. I think that there's going to be kind of more of a split. My prediction is that it's going to be more like 60-40, like 60 in studio, 40 in home. I don't. There's a lot of stuff that I don't see the need. I don't ever know why you would go in for like a commercial read or for audiobook read or any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Maybe it's just because I don't understand that.
And it's interesting that this is what you're saying while you're in Boston and going from town to town.
We're doing, yeah.
I'm just messing with you, Michael. I'm just messing with you, man.
When you see what we're doing, I think you're gonna.
Well, I'm already pissed off. I'm not a part of it, so. There's a thing about us actors, and I try to help people with the emotion because so much of acting is rejection. It's kind of like being a salesman. A salesman makes 100 calls, maybe 3 people answer, and he makes 1 sale. As actors, we audition for dozens and dozens of projects, and the majority of them we are not going to book. And sometimes there's that project that you just, oh man, I just think it's so right for me. And there've been, dozens of those over my career that, oh, I'd love this, oh, I want to do, and that didn't come through. But what I've learned to do is live in the successes and live in those things that, oh, I'd love to do, and it did come true.
That's something I hear a lot from actors, and my daughter is she acts as well, so I've been seeing it from her perspective, and of course, obviously, I have a lot of friends that are actors, but I hear that a lot. That the business of acting is the business of rejection, and I don't know, I kind of want to challenge that because you would never talk to like a fisherman and say like the business of fishing is the fish rejects you, and occasionally you catch something on your line. I think that the business of acting is putting yourself out there. I think that the business of acting is trusting the process, is trusting that the roles that you do get are the roles that you're right for. And that's happened a lot where actors will come in, even experienced actors sometimes will come in and we're doing something new, like we'll be doing PCAP or a really high profile project or something. And they're nervous. And one of the things that I love telling people is like, you don't have to trust yourself. Like, you gotta trust me.
Trust me.
Yeah, I picked it. Like I saw something in it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But what I'm talking about is not only is this an art and quiet as it's kept. If money weren't a thing, we do it for free. If money weren't a thing, but money is a thing, so we can't do it for free. But when you step into this is your livelihood, and the number of roles that you book and the work that you do, if it's tied not only to how you feel about yourself, but your finances. And one of the things you really have to get over is walking into that room or stepping into your booth and auditioning with the idea of, oh, I really need to book this. Oh, I want to book this. I need to book this. Because whatever's going on in here and here is going to come out of here. And and the person listening may not know what it is that's not quite right. They're just going to know something's not quite right.
It's damn near impossible. Like, I can't, it's... Man, I can't even tell you how many people have come and gone and they had so much potential and they just financially burned out of the industry. And it's really, like, it's hard. It's fucking hard. Like, and I think one of the benefits of what we've been doing is that, we're now able to record remotely as a more normative enterprise. So you don't have to live in the most expensive city in the world to be a part of the job. But as we open up, you have to be available, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My conversation with students used to be because I have some people that I teach that are not in LA. That it used to be, well, for the AAA jobs, you're going to have to be here. I'm not so sure that that's the case anymore. I think the pandemic has changed a lot of that. And I know of some fellow actors that have worked on AAA games and AAA commercials and cartoons and whatnot that quietly left LA, told their agents, "Don't tell anybody. It's just that I'm working remotely now, so I won't be available to come into studio, but." For all intents and purpose, I want people to have the feeling that I'm in LA. And I think sometimes the reality is different than the perception. And whatever you perceive actually can become your reality. So if the industry's perceiving, oh, you got to be in LA, then you got to be in LA. But I think that's changing now.
We'll see. We're gonna have to see.
Yeah, we will see. We will see.
We're gonna have to see. Again, you. Anything I can say, the retort is, "Well, you're in Boston right now."
Yeah. Speaking of which, my buddy Logan Williams, who lives in Boston, Logan Williams, big up, big brother, tuning in, and followed up by what? He's in Boston.
I'm in Boston right this minute. I want to make that very clear. That I'm in a hotel room in Boston.
Yeah, this is not a permanent situation.
Yeah.
Coming on back. So, what's the favorite project you've ever worked on?
That I can talk about that's released.
That you can talk about.
Oh, you're asking me to pick. It's like Sophie's Choice, you know. Like you're asking me to pick one of my favorite babies.
Yeah. Which among your children is your favorite?
I can't do it, Dave. I can't.
Give me a list of a few, and what you liked about them. What was it that touched your heart?
You rattled off the list of projects before that are the ones that everybody knows, right? Like the big ones, like BioShock 2 and I always put Masquerada in there just because I love it so much. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the bastard child that I love so much that I just wish that everybody played more. But I mean,
you know what? It's not one of the biggest games I've been on, but it's up there as one of my favorite games that I've been on for all time. And I'm not blowing smoke up your butt, but because of the ensemble-ness of it and being in that room with all these fabulous actors and doing it live. Not to mention the story is just amazing, imaginative, and touching.
I think that's where I'm having a problem, because immediately when you say what is your favorite project you have worked on, I think about it from the perspective of what's your favorite cast you've worked with. And that's something I can't choose, man. If I could, I think I'd be a shitty director, you know? And I think honestly, there you go. I can't make a choice, because if I could make a choice, I feel like I would be a shitty director. That's something that I try and ingrain in everyone on my team, where every project matters. It doesn't matter the budget. It doesn't matter the scope or the region or the platform or the size of the cast or the size of the number of BAFTAs you think you're gonna get, or I don't care if one person's gonna play it. If I'm working on it, it's the most important project.
Yeah.
I need to find a way to fall in love with the project, and I can't unlove a project.
Yeah.
I can't say it was that's not something I could do. Once I fall in love, I'm like a penguin. It's like I fall in love forever.
Yeah. Todd Weekly has a little comment here. There's Rob Paulson's answer to what's your favorite character? The next one. And I think I've said that a few times myself. People ask me all the
That would have
time.
been a lot shorter. I would have been a lot more concise.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, and I always come back to the Walking Dead game, Lee Everett, but it's because he gave me so many gifts. It won a lot of awards. It was like being nominated or winning an Oscar or something, and you went from, yeah, we know that guy's voice. He's pretty good. We like him, to, oh, that's Dave Fennoy. Which is a little different thing. But I just, I agree with the next one. And I'm always looking for another role like that.
Awards sit on a shelf and collect dust, and people live in our hearts and our minds forever.
They do make great doorstops and paperweights.
Yeah, no, I don't want to discount. I don't want to discount the award bodies. They're nice to us, but
I got a few up there.
I tell you, I've never hugged an award.
Yeah.
Maybe some people have. That's not really my bag.
But when you receive an award, it's like your fellow actors or whoever did the voting hugging you.
I've been on the other side of the voting committee enough to know that there's a lot more politics involved.
Oh, don't steal away my dreams, Michael.
Awards are great. Awards are great. I love them. They're wonderful marketing tools. But if I made projects and thought to myself like, oh, this will get us an award, then
well, no, I don't. I've never thought that way. But when somebody, it's that thing that's unexpected, or should be. And especially in our business, I think it's a little different than in the movie business, where you see the marketing to get that Oscar. I don't think a lot of people understand. A whole lot of money got spent for every one of those Oscars to go to somebody.
Yeah, there's I don't know if you get the screeners for stuff, but people still send out Blu-ray packages, like anybody plays physical discs anymore, or maybe but it's not a matter of I hope you watch this. It's I hope that you get this in your mail and then complain about it, or show it to somebody in the it's just eyes on paper.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm much more interested in a good script, and I'm much more interested in a good cast, and that's what honestly the PR for my company is abysmally bad.
Is it what?
Is abysmally bad. We are desperately looking for a good PR partner, because that's my lowest priority.
But you know what? You're working all the time.
Yeah, but
what would you want your PR company?
As a company, we tripled through the pandemic. We grew,
and that's why you need PR to get to, so you can triple the triple.
Yeah, exactly. I like logarithmic growth and exponential growth. I like the hockey stick, So a linear growth is great and all, but hockey sticks are kind of they slap.
Okay, well, I hope a wonderful PR person is listening right now that might want to hook up with you, but. And by the way, how's Rachel doing? And you work with your wife, and she handles everything. She always makes sure I get paid. You guys work well together.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's not always the easiest thing to work with your spouse. There's a lot of when it's. We wear the coworker hat, and we wear the parent hat, and we wear the husband and wife hat, and sometimes you got to make sure you're both wearing the same hats
at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. So one of the things that always bugged me, like when I was like coming up, right? And like I came up, you know, in the like, hopefully, I know it still exists, and it's disgusting, but like I like to think that I kind of came up towards the tail end of where it was kind of socially acceptable for men to be ultra gross, and I hope
to be ultra gross.
Yeah, like fucking assholes, right? And like what? How many bosses did I have? How many fucking guys did I work with? Where it's just like, I got 3 alimonies to pay. It's like, fuck you, man. Like you made stupid choices. Like I'm not gonna feel bad for you. You like look at who you're dating. Look at who you're marrying. You're not dating a partner. You're not respecting the person that you're with. Like I fucking hate my wife jokes and like the Borscht Belt humor. I think there's no place for that in society. And so yeah. Anyway, like one of the things that one of the smartest or really not the smartest decisions, one of the luckiest breaks in my life was like meeting Rachel and having her take a chance on me. Like if you had seen me when she met me, man, like you're lucky if you're getting a quartz in the rough.
She saw something in. I can mold this one. What's the old saying? Women think they can change men, and men think their women will never change.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't buy it.
But I so am in agreement with you. You want a partner, not an arm piece, not a. And I think so many people make that mistake, and men and women both, by the way, in who they choose to love and marry, or at least say they love and marry.
Yeah. Well, we got man, between Rachel and me, like we got 2 kids together, we got 2 companies together, like we're definitely setting ourselves up to have conversations for the rest of our lives, right? And I see that happen with a lot of couples where like you kind of like believe me, like I love my space. I love I'm good at chatting. I got the gift of gab, but I'm really an introvert. Like I get done with a session, or I get done with 8-hour or 12-hour days worth of sessions these days, and like I need to just fucking be quiet. Like
yeah.
One of the ways I evaluate people for like okay, maybe we could actually hang is that person looks like they could shut the fuck up.
It's interesting. Sometimes friends want to go on vacation, and that's one of my parameters too. Can I go hang out with this person and not hang out with this person? Can we be in a room and not talk? Can I read a book or watch what I want to watch and not have somebody that's well, what about this? Hey, let's go. Years ago, between wives, I took a trip to Thailand and with a buddy of mine, and one of the best things was if I wanted to go ride elephants and he didn't want to go, no biggie. I went and rode elephants. He did what he did, and away you go. And that's so far away from voiceover and directing and where we were going to go. But we are at the end of our hour, and I never know where these conversations are going to go. But you have had a lot of food for thought. And I'm going to one more comment here from Trey Mosley. This is a refreshing conversation. Makes me appreciate my wife and what she does for my business even more. Thank you for this, Michael. So all the husbands and wives out there, wish another belated happy birthday to my wife from a couple of days ago. We posted something on Facebook. We had a good time, but
she's a good one.
She's a good one. She is definitely a good one. Well, anyway, I'm going to say goodbye and say hello to Rachel for me. And I look forward to the next time we work. We worked together not so long ago on something we will not talk about. But as usual, it was a joy for me working with you.
Oh man, the same. Every time your name comes up on the call sheet, I'm happy, man. So
there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Csurics.
No problem. Hey, Dave of Fennoy.
Yeah. Oh boy, you have. Yeah, actually, you do have an idea. I get Fennoy, Finney, Fenna.
Yeah.
Circus, Michael Circus.
Michael Csurics. It's
Csurics.
all good.
Csurics.
Thanks to your audience for showing up today. It's a good cap up my day. I'm gonna go pop to sleep right over there.
I think I'll be doing much of them little dinner and then bed, and I will bid you adieu until I see you in the studio.
Take care, everyone. All right, good night.
All right, wrapping up another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything with Dave Fennoy. Forgetting how to pronounce Michael's name. It's insane. It tells me I need sleep. I'm still not getting over the end of daylight savings time and 10 days in New York. My circadian rhythms are all out there someplace. Once again, this lives on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. If you're interested in voiceover coaching, DaveFennoy.com, and the holiday special is on right now. 5, 10, or 20 gets you a 20% off deal. That said, all the best. I do plan to be around next week for just before Thanksgiving, but it'll be just me. I'm not sure quite what we're going to do yet. I might let some people do some reads and do some coaching on Ask Dave Fennoy Anything next week. But in the meantime, I want you to book something.